In My Mug, episode 279 on Monday, the 17th of March 2014. I am your host, Stephen Layton. Welcome to In My Mug, and welcome to In My News. Where did that come from? Okay, let's do one. So, a changing format to In My Mug again. You know, I've been focusing on, and you've been having like a set of Bolivians or a set of Pulp Naturals or a set of Bourbons. Well, I've decided I'm just going to mix them up for a little while. And the reason for that is I've missed Africa. It's been so long, so this week, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be having a really tasty African, and we're going to be focusing on Rwanda. It's going to be really good. But then next week, we may focus on something else. So we keep it a little bit kind of fresher and, and mix up the coffees a bit. I hope you don't mind. Maybe we go back to that in the future as well. Like if I get some really interesting kind of lots from a farm, we'll do that. But don't forget, you can win tickets every week to the London Coffee Festival, which is happening in London on April the 3rd until the 6th, I think it is. This week, I want you to send in a Vine. A Vine is an app that you can have for the Android or the iPhone, and you take a little video clip. And I'm going to show you one now, is what a Vine is.
Go. Come on. Have it. Have it. Have it.
That was Simon. And Simon is from he's our wholesale operations guy, and he was in a pub and I think he was drunk. But you get the idea. Send one of those Vines in, something funny, something to do with coffee, and you can win tickets next week. And let's look at this week's winner, who gets 2 tickets for the London Coffee Festival on a day of their choice. They can either come on Friday and watch me do Brewers Cup, or they can come on Sunday and watch the live In My Mug in the afternoon. But anyway, this week's call's from Paul Puds, and it's Ask Dale. So Paul asks, what is the best method for making cold brew coffee? I've read quite a bit about it and would be interested to hear Dale's thoughts on the positives, negatives of cold brew and how best to make a drink with it. This is an interesting question, and it's one that I've had a few people ask us through the website. Personally, I'm not a fan of cold brew, and I know when I asked Dale, he said exactly like all good baristas, they do prefer hot coffee over cold coffee, and it's just the way that it is. Dale's kind of asked me to kind of say, doesn't pretend to know all the answers, although I try and make him this barista person that should be asked. He's had some great cold brewed coffee at Colonus and Smalls, which is in Bath, and they use an 8-hour extraction through one of the Harrio brew towers. Going to show you a picture on the screen now of a Harrio brew tower, and he's enjoyed some of the coffees from there. There's also a video that Peter Giuliano did on Japanese iced coffee, and we're going to whap a link to that on the screen right now for you. And that is a really good video. For me, I love iced lattes when it gets warm. It's something that I find kind of a little bit more acceptable. You know, cold milk with coffee kind of goes quite well. But hopefully, Paul, that answers your question. He also threw in another question with London Coffee Festival on the horizon, and Thames water being as poor as it is. What can be done to make London's water better? Well, at the barista competition, what we use is a filtration system, and I know a lot of shops use a reverse osmosis where they remove all the bad things from the water, in fact everything from the water, and then use a recipe to add things in so it's easier to extract. And that's a definite way that some water can be. I think that wasn't actually sent in by Paul, that was sent in by Sam. But yeah, so water's very different. And yeah, so that was Ask Dale. That was a little bit rambly, wasn't it? So hopefully that is our winner done for this week for the Brewers Cup. I'm obsessed with the Brewers Cup, for the London Coffee Festival. And now we're going to focus on, and this week we're going to focus on Rwanda. So Rwanda is a really interesting country. It's very rural, with about 90% of the population engaged in subsistence agriculture, so they're growing food for their own subsistence. It's the most densely populated country in Africa and is landlocked. and has few natural resources, so it doesn't have an abundance like if you go to DRC, where they have an abundance of zinc and gold and diamonds and all that. Doesn't have that. And agriculture accounts for 33% of the economy coming out of Rwanda, so coffee's pretty important to it. The history of coffee in Rwanda dates back to the 1930s, when the Belgians colonised Rwanda. It was really interesting how it got colonised. So it was basically a German colony, I think, and from the First World War the colony got reassigned to Belgium, and they planted heaps of really poor quality, high producing, high yielding trees, just so they could have a little coffee empire. And then in the 90s, prices dropped, and then in the 90s Rwanda went through the 1994 genocide, which is just horrendous. If you ever want to be shocked at what human beings can do to each other, go read about the 1994 genocide. It makes the hairs on my arm stand up, particularly from visiting the country. There are people that had lived through 1 in 10 people being killed, so a 10 million population and 1 million were killed. But afterwards what happened was all of this poor mass-produced coffee, people went in and tried to help growers plant better varietals, do their own processing, grow better coffee, know more about agronomy, and now from this high yielding poor quality to now, it's inextricably linked with this genocide and coffee getting better. It's a place now that produces high quality, that produces a really good, interesting cup. There are hundreds of washing stations all over Rwanda where producers deliver their coffee to, and the coffee's washed and comes from a cooperative like this one, and has also done a lot to introduce buyers to co-ops. So it was the first country in Africa to do the Cup of Excellence, of which I was lucky enough to be on the jury. It's known as the land of 1,000 hills, as most of the coffee is cultivated between 1,700 and 2,000 metres, which is just horrendously high altitude, and the coffee is the terroir is perfect for coffee, and it's great to see it doing so well now, and it's great to see Rwanda coffee really picking itself up, and doing amazing things. There's lots of companies out there that have done great work in Rwanda. I'm always superbly impressed by Union Coffee Roasters, Union Hand Roasted, that have done a lot of work out there, but there's a lot of American companies that have done work out there, and it's somewhere that I wish I could do more. So that was Focus On. Okay, so we ain't seen this baby for a while, we have to dig it out. Last time we had Latte, so let's get rid of Latte. And where it goes, I really don't want it to go anywhere horrible today, and it is stockroom. Right, so we're going to go to the stockroom. So I'm going to go on a discovery tour. Let's go discovering. So we're going to go this way. Coming through here. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Chris is making the coffee so we can actually taste them on the mobile. This is my office. It's ridiculously large. That's where all the roasting's happening down there. So there's Gary. Yeah, anyway, you don't want to see them. We want to go and see the stock room. So going down my little staircase here. Da-da-da-da-da. And this is the green room, which I'm sure you'll be seeing at some point, but this is where all the green is. There's Gary. Say hello, Gary. And then we're going into the stock room. So in round here, into the stock room. So we've got the forklift, we've got rack in there, and we've got all this coffee here, all the coffee there. And that was the Wheel of Discovery. So this coffee is located in one of the 14 districts of the Hoi region. This is a fully washed red Bourbon from the washing station called Kigoma. It came as a super surprise to us when we first saw this. This was 2 years ago. It's a sample that turned up from an importer we normally don't buy coffee from because it's not so great. But we cooked it and loved it. It jumped off the table at us. We knew nothing about it. We still know very little about it. But we bought it, enjoyed it, then it disappeared. And then just before Christmas this year, the sample hit our door again. Cooked it, same importer. same surprise on my face. I'm very, very happy to see it back. As I was saying in the focus on, Rwanda produces less than half of the amount of coffee that it used to produce from when it was colonial and run by the Belgians. But it makes a much better quality now. Like what I was saying about the Cup of Excellence, it really is a progressive country that is trying to do better things. It does have its own unique problems. The potato defect is something that you find in some Rwandan coffees, and when you find it, you know it's there. But the climate, the altitude, the high quality varietals, they have so much Bourbon there. It really does allow itself to be a coffee that is really treasured and prized by the specialty coffee community, and somewhere I'm always happy to see coffees come back from. Now, because of how we bought the coffee, and because it's a small washing station, small co-op, and we don't know so much about it, we were sent photos, we have the coffee, we have some very basic information, which I'll go through in a moment, but this cup is all about the quality. It's all about what it tastes like, not about the story. And that's good. It's good to have coffees that just taste good and they don't have to have stories. But it's called Rwanda Kigoma. It's a red Bourbon. It's fully washed and dried on raised African beds, as most Rwandan coffee is. The owner of the co-op is Rwanda Mountain Coffee. It's an altitude of 1,980 metres, which is as high as we kind of buy. It's picked by hand and not done on one picking. They go 6, 7, 8, 9 pickings. It's washed underwater, submerged in water for 32 hours, and then sun dried on these raised beds. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we should go and listen to what Roland has daft to tell us this week.
In Kigali, in Rwanda, the last Saturday of every month, it is compulsory to do some public service of tidying up the city. This can be tendering to flower beds, emptying bins, or sweeping the streets. It's against the law to not do it, you know.
Now, it is a really cool thing. It promotes teamwork, it gives everyone a personal stake in the beauty and the progress and the success of the city, and it's something that really happens. I was there, I saw it, and I went down and had my breakfast in the hotel, and then after that, everybody was gone. The hotel was empty and people were cleaning. It was just amazing. So anyway, we should go and do the incredibly vague, I'm not looking forward to this map bit. I do think the map bit has become my favourite bit. I kind of like it. It's just, I don't know, I like maps. But we're going up. There's the lovely me waving you off. And we are going down to Africa, which is something we haven't done for so long. So long. I'm really pleased to be back. I'm really pleased to be going into Rwanda, which is actually quite a small country when you look at it in the size of Africa, but it's still pretty huge. Also known as the land of 1,000 hills, and it's just because they have such crazy altitude there. As I was mentioning in the focus on that, the altitude is super high, and this just proves the point that the lowest point is 950 meters above sea level, and the highest point is Volcan Hazamibi, and it just kind of shows you the variety of altitudes. Now we're looking down at the Hoi district, and I know nothing about this coffee, so what I am going to tell you that it's 581 square kilometers and has 314,000 inhabitants. I say that's how desperate I'm getting for facts when it comes to working with a cooperative. And I could tell you some jokes and I could probably sing you a song, but I think we should end this very awkward and very vague map bit. So I'm back. I'm going to dive straight into the espresso. So the first thing you'll notice is this is super bright. So I get limes, I get lemon-like acidity, but then this kind of really weird sweet biscuit and chocolate thing comes along, which just makes it super smooth. So you have this high of like acidity. Oh, hang on a second. No, that's nice. It's smooth and it's more balanced, and really ties in. I think it's a delicious espresso because it challenges me at the start, but then kind of turns into that kind of creamy and smooth and chocolatey and yeah, very biscuit-like. Let's look at it in milk. Milk, it's okay. It's not bad. You do get that acidity kind of hit again, and the sweetness of the milk kind of calms it down much quicker. Yeah, it's okay. Let's go into the brewed. My morning breath mug. So I made this with the Chemex because I'm just practicing Chemex making a lot for the Brewers Cup. And the Chemex, again, brings out that acidity. The sweetness is perhaps a little bit more subdued than it is in the espresso, which surprises me. But there is a sweetness, but it's not that chocolate and it's not that biscuit. It's much more kind of like melon-like. You get a real kind of like melon sweetness, like honeydew kind of, yeah, stickiness. And I think it's delicious. I think it's a really great coffee. It's great to be back in Africa. I've kind of really missed it. And that's why we're mixing it up a little bit for a while, is to kind of chuck a few coffees that we've only got 1 or 2s of, so weren't looking like they would make it in, and hopefully they will. I've got a Colombian that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you soon as well. Okay, I'm going to wrap up. We have done enough here for today, I believe. Do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.